Hello and welcome to another edition of FX Addicts Weekly Currency Update. This is Tim the Currency Professor, and today is May 25th, 2012. Well, we had quite the week this week, the dollar gaining quite a bit of ground, doing very nicely. Up, looks like we're going to close up around 82.50 area, somewhere up in there. Looks very strong, had a very nice run the last few weeks. Looks like it's going to continue. There's no indication here that that's going to change. So very steep angle though. So there is a risk of a pretty good pullback at some point. But for right now, it looks fairly strong. On the weeklies here, it looks like we're going to close the week above our highs a few weeks back, or actually a few months back. And really looks like we're probably going to continue on here. We look at the monthlies here. We got about 4 trading sessions left in the month. So if we can close at this level or higher for the month, very, very strong, very positive. Looks like we would then continue on up quite aggressively next month as well for the month of June. So all in all, looks very good. We set the lows back here. We had this nice triangular pattern. We broke out of it with a lot of vigor and moved higher. And we had about 4 months worth of correction. And now this month rallying up quite a bit. Looks very good, very strong. So in the coming months, we'll look forward to continue on and quite possibly get up to some levels that we haven't seen in several years. So looks good. The euro today, let's get to that. Sorry about that. The euro today giving up just slightly a little bit. Right now down about 10, 12 pips depending on your quote service. Really in very much need of a bounce, but does not look like it's going to happen anytime soon. We did rally today a little bit and it was met with quite a bit of selling. So there's still that fear going on that within the European Union they're not getting their act together and they're not going to get it together anytime soon. Greece may fail and pull down the rest of some European countries and contingency of bank debt and everything. I mean, it's just a mess. So as that continues to fester, the euro will continue to slide off against the dollar and everything else for that matter. If we look on the weeklies, we're closing the week out now below these lows that we had back here. So very negative. Also, we're just below these lows back in here. Again, very negative. There really is nothing stopping us from getting down to these lows, which is around 118. It's also the area where this lower end of the channel is here. And we could get there very quickly if things are not resolved in the next couple of weeks with the European situation. They keep trying to hold things together. They come up with solutions and it gets knocked down. Unfortunately, there are just too many people. There are too many different groups trying to agree that cannot agree. So it's certainly making things unstable and causing the euro to sell off fundamentally. Technically, here's where we're going to go, about 113, 114. That's in the longer term. And fundamentally, can make a very good case for us to be worth just that at this point. And if Greece pulls out, then realistically, we're worth about 100, about par level. So it'd be €1 per $1. And that is becoming more and more apparent that may very well be the reality here, maybe even sooner than later. The pound also selling off a little bit, down about 13 pips or so, depending on your quote service. We are closing out the day here at the lowest levels that we've seen really since February, and we could very easily get down, beginning of the week, down to about 156 here, which would be levels that we haven't seen since March. So very, very weak. We are very oversold. On the weekly basis, though, a lot of momentum picking up here on the weeklies. Looks like we could probably carry through next week or the week after all the way down to about 153.50, 154. On the monthlies, this looks very bearish. Looks like we're going to close the month out, reversing the last 3 or even 4 closes. So there is a lot of bearish sentiment out there, long term as well as short. does not look good at all for the pound against the dollar. Once we got down to this level, that would be the fourth time that we would be down there, and really we would probably break that trend line, and that right now is about 154 area. So if we broke through that and closed significantly below it, then we would probably sell off to the lower to mid 130 area. U.S. dollar against the Swiss franc, beautiful week this week, climbing up. We are just now at the same highs that we were at back in December and January. So very, very strong here, very good move higher. Really looks like it's going to continue. Short term, though, we are very, very overbought here, as we can see by the stochastics, and we're in need of a correction, a pullback, maybe a couple of days or so, decent pullback that would bring the stochastics back down and give us a little bit more power than to go up and thrust and make some really good new highs. On the weeklies, we're right there, right up on the top. We're going to close right there at the highs. Very, very strong looking weeklies. We had the spike low. We came up well off of it, even though there was some intervention in there. But overall looks very strong. Same on the monthlies, looks very good here. We close up here or a little higher for the month. Very, very positive. The next stopping point would really be about 103 area on this trend line. And once we got up there, I would anticipate us probably breaking through that just because of the spike low down here. This ended that 10-year downturn for the dollar against the Swiss. So we are now in the process of turning that sentiment around and turning that market around longer term. So it will probably breach that trend line when we get up there. U.S. dollar against the Japanese yen, having a fairly difficult week. Today we're up just 3 pips right now, depending on your quote service, but overall we're forming this little triangular formation in here in a longer term downward move. So technically we should sell off out of that and come down to about the 78 area the way it looks. So we could sell off, get back down into that range where we were back in the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. So that is a very distinct possibility this next week. Now, there's a lot of fundamental things that would push it higher, and we could do that too, because this could be a turnaround pattern, as these triangles many times are that way as well. So we could come to the point here and leap above this next week, leap above this this downward sloping channel line, and really move higher. So that's a possibility also. On the weeklies actually look fairly strong here. We got these last week and this week forming what could be a bottom here. So it looks very strong on the weeklies. Stochastics have also turned. So there is a very good possibility we could turn around here on the weeklies. Monthlies, well, monthlies we're ending up where we started. And for that to happen here on the downward, little downward correction that we're having in the larger upward move here, that is really could signal a turnaround as well. This could end up being a doji here. You can barely see it in here because it's actually a fairly small range for the month, and we're right about where we opened. So if we close the month here, that could actually be a positive sign also. So overall, longer term up, shorter term, it could sell off a little more. Euro Swiss had a beautiful day yesterday, up quite a bit, and came right back down. There was a rumor that hit the street that the Swiss were going to institute a tax against any Swiss franc deposits, which would mean that a lot of people would be getting out of the Swiss franc and staying into other currencies, most likely the euro. But that rumor was never substantiated, so we came right back down, moved up a little bit today, and then came back down also. So right now we're down about 2 pips on the day, right back down in the range of 120.10, 120.12, and looks like we'll probably stay in that area for a while until something else changes. But the fact that we moved so much yesterday off of that one little rumor shows the power that this market could really have. We look here at the weeklies, we can see we have that spike low just like in the dollar against the Swiss, And here we have a trend line that goes back several years. So we are above that trend line, but we are above it in not a movement, but in consolidation. So you can see here, stochastics very, very oversold on the weeklies. So there is a potential here for an extremely powerful move to the upside. And on the monthlies as well, we can see how that trend line there has come in, and we can see how it really goes back to about the beginning of 2007, middle of 2007. So the fact that we've now breached that line, we had this spike low, there is a very, very good potential for us to move much higher off of this. So there could be another explosive move here in the offing. Euro yen having a rough week as well. Went up a little bit at the beginning of the week and then sold off the rest of the week. Overall, we're down. Today, we're down about 7 pips or so. Does not look very good, but we are extremely oversold here. We're in a little bit of a support area because of this area back in here, and we are oversold. So we could bounce a little bit from here, maybe get up maybe 101 area, and then resume on the slide down. Now we are hitting on the weekly this trend line here, and we did breach below it a little bit yesterday, but overall it's still hanging in there. It looks like we're going to close the week just on it. So we could bounce a little bit from here. This is now the 5th week down, and we are very, very oversold. So a little bit of a bounce up here next week for at least maybe 1 week, maybe even 2. Would be actually healthy, and then we could probably slide off again. Now we can see here on the monthlies how we failed to get up to this trend line up here around 113, 114, and we really sold off quite vigorously last month and now again this month. So we are right back down to the lows, or very close to the lows that we established back at the end of 2011. So as this breaches that area, there really is nothing holding it from getting down to about the upper 80, lower 90 area. So that's a longer term view, but nonetheless, it's got the potential there to do it very quickly. That is it for this week. Hope you stop by FX Addicts and see or talk to me. I'm there pretty much every day from 8 to 8 Eastern Time, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you, answer questions. Also, please don't forget about our classes. We will be having a short hiatus from our classes for the next couple of weeks, but then we will have them starting up the end of June again. So please feel free, check the schedule, and if you have any questions, give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks. Bye.